Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV and on the Wave Radio 94.5. I am Lisa Joseph. The St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture has issued another note of caution to the Ministry of Agriculture on its decision to hastily implement a policy that the private sector umbrella organization warns can have a detrimental consequence for all involved. The ministry has announced that as of May 27, 2015, the local purchase requirement for chicken will increase from 25% to 40%. Executive Director Brian Louisi says this measure will have significant impact on importers who will no longer be able to subsidize the cost of local chicken.
There's a strong view in the retailers of chicken that local chicken, which is now being bought at an average of $5.50 a pound, cannot be sold and will not move at a reasonable speed at that price. Presently, the lower cost imported chicken is what has allowed the local chicken to be sold below the $5.50 a pound, which is purchased from processors. With an increased quota, importers will be operating at a substantial loss. Another important factor is that local processors are at this time not able to meet the specific demands of importers as it relates to premium parts, and generally are only able to supply whole and mixed parts. Because of the situation, importers are unable to continue to subsidize the price of local chicken.
Mr. Louisi says there was little to no consultation with the chamber on the matter. The organization did meet with the ministry officials last September, at which time the issue was glossed over. In October, the chamber wrote to the Ministry of Agriculture seeking dialogue and making suggestions on refining the policy. But to date, there has been no acknowledgement of the communique. Brian Louisi says the chamber supports local production, but the impact of the policy needs to be thoroughly thrashed out with the interest of all concerned considered. Under this policy, he notes, an increase in the price of chicken is inevitable.
The average cost of local chicken, and we're talking about non-premium parts, is $5.50 a pound. Imported chicken can be bought and be available, landed in St. Lucia at around $2 a pound. The main reason why there's this cost differential is that the local producers of chicken have to import virtually every aspect of the inputs into production. Also, the scale factor impinges upon the ability to sell to sell chicken at a low cost or to produce at a low cost. There's also the fact that there's a guaranteed price for the farmers, which sets the base as to the level of the cost of the good. So there are lots of factors, and then you have large producers across the world, from the U.S. to Brazil, that produce chicken at a very reasonable cost. So the cost of local chicken is generally, and the cost of local production of many products is generally much higher.
To avert the major problems in the sector, the Chamber is calling for a proper management system to be devised before implementation of the quota increase.
So that there is a certain amount of predictability, a certain amount of accountability, and so therefore a certain amount of transparency in how the local purchase requirement is managed and handled. So we do think that there is need for, if you wish to develop the industry, there is need for a broader set of initiatives. The quota-only approach is not going to guarantee that we achieve the objectives of providing livelihoods to farmers and livelihoods to processors, livelihoods to retailers and distributors. There needs to be a broader set of supporting policy initiatives. For persons whose primary business is chicken, they will be negatively impacted and the impact may result in them having to revisit the operations and revisit the decision as to whether they can continue to operate. If with the increased price of local chicken in particular, that will have to occur. If the consumers are willing to pay for it, well, then there is no issue. Firms can operate. But if it cannot move at a reasonable pace and at a higher price, there will be repercussions for lots of businesses and across the board.
Of particular concern to the Chamber of Commerce is the warning from the Ministry of International Trade that an increase in the quota goes against World Trade Organization regulations.